this is going to be my top 10 role-playing and or storytelling games list. I really like storytelling games. I think it's because I really enjoy reading, and it's almost like interacting with a story from a book. And so here we go. Here's my number 10.
Number 10.
So my number 10 storytelling game is Near and Far. This is a game that just made my list basically because the storytelling element isn't first and foremost. I feel that in order to be a true storytelling game, it has to be a requirement. And it is possible to play an entire game of this and not do any of the stories, which is a pet peeve of mine. but it is enjoyable when I do play it. I just don't play it that often because I like it to be more story driven. And that was my number 10.
Number 9.
My number 9 storytelling game is Once Upon a Time. It's a card game where all the players have a hand of cards that are either objects or people that are things in fairy tales, and then there's also events, and you have to cooperatively tell the story using your cards, and you can interrupt other people if the card makes sense, and if they say the person goes to a village and you have the village card in your hand, you can throw down the village card and then take the story over. And the person to get rid of all the cards out of their hand first is the winner. And it's a fun game, and I do enjoy playing it. That's why it's my number 9.
Number 8.
My number 8 is a role-playing game. It is Sundered Skies. It's in the Savage World systems, and I like the theme of it. It's about floating islands, and you can be little dinosaur people and be a sky pirate on a pirate ship, and it's fun. And that is why it's my number 8.
Number 7.
My number 7 is Murder of Crows. It's a little card game where you have to spell out the word murder. Each card has a letter on it and something you can do, whether it's pick up more cards or make other people discard cards. And once you spell out the word murder in front of you, and you read each card from left to right, and it will tell a little story of a murder. And it's fun to play, and it is my number 7.
Number 6.
My number 6 storytelling game is Stuff and Nonsense. In this game, you play an explorer who does not actually go exploring. What you do is you go around London to various photo shops and gift shops and newsstands and antique stores, and you collect stuff, and then you go back to the Adventurers Guild and you tell a story pretending you went on this grand adventure. And it's really fun. I'm saying that about everything, but that's why they're on my top 10 list. And that is my number 6.
Number 5.
My number 5 is another role-playing game. It's Nobilis. And Nobilis is a role-playing, it's diceless system, and you play gods. So right off the bat, you're kind of powerful, and you just get more powerful. And I like that it makes sense without using dice, because as long as you have the ability to do something, you can always do it instead of, rolling and failing on something that you shouldn't really be able to fail on. And it's really fun to not have to wait around to do amazing things. So that is why it is my number 5.
Number 4.
My number 4 is Masterpiece Mystery, Motive for Murder. In this one, it's a tile laying game, and one of the characters has been murdered, and you have to lay the tiles in a way to make their motives reasonable and like work out for why they murdered the person. And there's on every tile there's a little thing saying like who they are and how they would maybe want to murder the person. And that is my number 4.
Number 3.
My number 3 is Parsley. Parsley is sort of a role-playing game, but the GM acts more like a computer because it's based on those old like Zork games and things like that where you just type the inputs, because there's only like a few things that you can do, and if you want to do the wrong thing, the GM just has to say like that's not possible and things like that. And it really is like an interactive, text-based adventure game. Instead of being on the computer, you have a person being the computer, and it's fun and I love it.
Number 2.
My number 2 storytelling game is the Choose Your Own Adventure House of Danger. And this is based on the Choose Your Own Adventure books. I actually own this book and have read it. So it was a little even more fun for me, because I was like, oh no, you don't want to do that, because I knew what happened in the book. And it really is like going through the book but with a deck of cards, and except you get what's the word? Inventory. You have an inventory and you can pick up objects and then use the objects, and it's really fun, and it's cooperative, so it's good to play with kids. And especially if you grew up reading those Choose Your Own Adventure books, it's even better than reading the books. And that's why it's my number 2.
And now it is time for number 1.
My number 1 storytelling game is Tales of the Arabian Nights. In this game, you play a person who is traveling around, having adventures, getting thrown into the sea by mermen, getting thrown in jail, getting leprosy and turned into an ape man. And every turn you have a story and a choice to do, and that's what makes it a true storytelling game for me, is you have to do a story every turn. And even if I spend half the game as an ape man in jail, I still have a lot of fun playing this. I love it. That's why it's my number 1. That was my top 10 storytelling games and RPGs. Let me know in the comments what your favorite storytelling games and RPGs are. If you like this video and you want to see more like it, just like the video, share it on all forms of social media, and remember to subscribe to the Board Game Kaptain. It's Kaptain with a K on YouTube. And until next time, game on. That was my top 10 storytelling and RPG games. Why don't you, that's terrible, no. That was my top 10 storytelling and RPG games. Tell me in the comments below, what are your favorite storytelling or RPGs? And, what do I say? Hold on, you can just cut it, hold on. Okay.